Our journey to Alto Chirripo began with a 2:30 a.m. wake-up, followed by a 2-hour 4x4 cab ride from Chirripo to Alto Quetzal via bumpy dirt road. That is the furthest, or I should say the closest that you can get in a vehicle to Luis's home in Alto Chirripo, some 22 miles further into the interior of the Chirripo River Valley. And thus began our sunrise start on foot.
So we descended from Alto Quetzal about 3 miles to the river. This is not it. There's a big river over here beyond the tree, so we're now alongside Rio Chirripo and making our first rest stop, having a little rice cake snack and a drink before moving on here. So we've got our trusty little colt.
And we have Raquel. Say hola! Hola! And we have Luis!
Hola! How are you?
El guía mejor del mundo aquí en Chirripo.
Pues muy feliz aquí andando mi amigos. Andando con mi amigos.
Best guide
muy feliz.
Who knows the Chirripo River region and all the tribes. This is our little baby horse friend that's keeping up with mama, trying to keep up. I'm at the Rio Chirripo, and so far we haven't had to cross it. Luis and the horses and our luggage already crossed it a wider area where it was only about a knee deep, but very swift and rocky current. So the rest of us has continued to this cable car or basket that you cinch across with a rope, and so it looks like a pretty thick cable. I think we'll be fine. Just kind of it's obviously used because there's a line to get up there and use it. So we'll be I think we're next up, so we're going to cross over the Rio Chirripo. Ya va Luis. It's 3 p.m. and we've been on the trail now for 9 hours. Very tired. Not that the trek was so hard. The trail was in pretty good conditions. The cable crossings where we had them and bridges felt safe. Managed to keep dry feet. But under the sun a lot, and so tired from the sun, tired from very little sleep last night. There's a few spots to cool off. We swam in one of the side rivers earlier, and there's a waterfall back there that would be good for such a thing. So opportunities to refresh ourselves. Also finding the orange trees on the route kind of help to keep the fluids in us. So looking forward to being finished and resting the bodies.
With a couple miles still to go, our horses gave out and refused to go any further. And so we had to carry our stuff ourselves the rest of the way.
I really hope that is the last climb of the day. Just leveled out after coming up that. Definitely the steepest climb of the day. It's steeper than stairs, muddy. I think we're very close, finally. Finalmente hemos llegado a casa de Luis Quetzal. Yay! We have finally arrived to Luis's house.
He has a house.
12 horas until 12 hours.
Eso, bravo.
Yay. Ah,
Hola.
llegamos. This is the view that greeted us when we finally arrived to Luis Quetzal Salazar's home and compound right here. A very welcome sight, not just because it was beautiful, but because it meant our long trek was finally over and we could rest. It was a 12-hour trek for us from exactly at sunrise, and we finished right at sunset. But it's so nice to be here in a very natural place that at night you cannot see a light anywhere, and that there's a community here that we're going to be visiting over the next few days. So I would say about that trek, though it has its challenges and it's tough, I would say vale la pena. It's worth it, and also how it, in some ways, the difficulty of getting here is what has allowed this Cabécar culture and Luis's traditions to be preserved.
Hola, muy buenos días. Aquí yo vivo Alto Chirripó, de sitio Hilda Homo. Es dirección de aquí, de última naciente de Alto Chirripó. Los vivía muchos años los indígenas. Este es mi lugar, este es mi casa. Este es mi casa de rancho tradicional y lo tenemos todos del baño. Tengo de flores, sembrados, que tengo de plantas medicinales, y aquí de flores de mariposas, tengo de tomate, tengo chía, y tiene papaya, y tenemos banano, de todos los usa, tiene chile. Y todos desde arriba la montaña es mi propiedad. Él viene aquí, todos va del valle para abajo, va todo el otro más abajo, todos son mi propiedad personal. Y me vivía toda la vida, tengo sembrado de frijoles, tengo de estos frijoles, son de aquí, de vive siempre, crece como a esta altura. Es de frijoles de acá, y son de alimentación de los indígenas de aquí, de parte de nosotros. Y nosotros usan de ese alimento, no abona, solo naturalmente, lo nace así solo, si lo siembra nada más, se crece solo y no ocupa abono orgánico, no ocupa ni abono de químico, lo ocupa solo alimentaciones, solamente sembrar y cuidar, achinear, a crecer. Hasta para la casa, para vivir, para mantener su familia, para mantener de animales. A llegar aquí 12 horas hasta que la encuentra del carro, encuentra bus. Pero nosotros estamos muy felices a vivir la montaña, tiempo silencio, lugar lejadas, no está cerca, ni vecinas, tranquilo, solo el paz, de gente vive aquí siempre, toda la vida, y ya muchos años a vivir aquí este lugar. Por muy orgullo para ver de estos lugares, bienvenidos a buscar ceremonia, a buscar curaciones, buscar las plantas medicinales, naturaleza. Yo traigo la medicina solo la montaña y no encuentra cultivado, y la encuentra solo montaña, lo saca y para ayudar de la vida, para salvar, algunos están enfermos. Y aquí la encuentra suficiente de cosas naturalmente, y nosotros somos natural. Que los vive siempre, toda la vida, este lugar. Este alimento se llama hayuk. Ese es una carne sabrosa, parte de los indígenas usan esta carne. Se tiene carne adentro, pero no puede abrir. Sale así la carne. De cocinar con agua caliente, picadito, sale todo el sabor.
While the people of Alto Chirripó do make use of staples such as rice and pasta carried in from the outside, they mostly subsist locally through foraging the forest, planting crops, tending fruit trees, and their animals. Alto Chirripó is just one of many communities that make up the Cabécar Indigenous Preserve, but it just might be the most remote. And to call them communities is a bit loose, as they really are scattered home sites and farms, and they lack the vestiges of a town or a neighborhood. There's no central plaza or road junctions, no stores or places to spend money. Animal pastures double as soccer fields. There are government-run schools in each community, and that's also where many Cabécar children learn Spanish for the first time. The school also serves as a global connection in an otherwise disconnected preserve that lacks electricity or cellular service. Each one is fitted with a solar-powered satellite dish and a Wi-Fi signal. Although to get to the one in Alto Chirripó from Luis's house, you have to cross the Rio Chirripó in another cable basket once again. This is my third trip to Costa Rica with Leaf International. The first trip was with some Leaf staff to meet and visit, get to know our teaching artists and our partners here in Costa Rica, and document that. And then I returned and led the first Leaf International exchange trip to Costa Rica last year. And then this year we just led another group. We had a group of 13 total from Leaf that went and visited the brewery and got to meet some of our teaching artists. And at the conclusion of that trip, some of us went on a side excursion, particularly myself and Sarah May, to visit Luis Quetzal's village, Leaf's most recent teaching artist. For those who aren't familiar, LEAF is an acronym, stands for Lake Eden Arts Festival. It's a nonprofit with the mission to connect cultures and create community through the music and arts. And the component of it, called Leaf International, is somewhat similar to what happens back in Asheville, is that we support teaching artists in music programs, especially among youth. And that's happening internationally, but there's kind of an added component that many of these are not just for the sake of teaching music, but it's to preserve culture. It's artists who are carrying on traditions that are in danger of being lost in a world today where you have so much access and connectivity to a global culture that these smaller cultures are being threatened. And that's the teaching artists we support here in Costa Rica are doing that. Among the Nobe Bugle, we have Alexis teaching his traditional songs and language. Among the Bribri, we support Jairo, who is teaching drum making and drumming, and also the songs of the Bribri. And here at Alto Chirripó, among the Cabécar tribe, Luis Salazar is our teaching artist, and he's the one who's hosted us here. We've been visiting for these several days. And it's a bit of a more unique program in that he does teach music or songs, but these songs are not just in their Cabécar language. It's not just songs for tradition, but singing is very important in their culture. In fact, with him on this trip, we had a service with him where he sang in the morning to welcome the sunrise when we were down on the beach near Puerto Viejo. A few days ago it was a full moon, and he said just very casually, "All right, I'm going to go welcome the moon," and he went and did a dance and a song to welcome the full moon that was coming. And I also got to have a sort of a healing session with him, where he's done this with others. Is he's not just bringing out plants and medicines and burning incense over you, but he sings over you. And so singing is very important in not just carrying on the language, but in the knowledge of nature, how it helps us, the use of plants for medicine. Luis is more of a shaman than more like a music teacher, but it's a mix of both.
Aquí estamos de Namao de Alto Chirripó. Y ahorita me agradeció bastante es que las partes de LIF, de los compañeros que los conocí de Carolina Norte. Aquí lo tenemos un grupo, un estudiantes tenemos 29 porque hoy lo presentó uno, tenemos ya 30 chiquitos que los estudiantes. Y tenemos cuatro huérfanos y aparte ya sirvió muchos años que yo trabajo del parte de ellos. Y también ahí nuestro grupo hace tiempo no conocido que gente los ayuda, los que nunca este proyecto no ha ayudado a los gobiernos de Costa Rica no saben. Este trabajo es como mi espíritu personal y mi corazón que los hizo este proyecto de la escuela. Esta es mi escuela, la primera escuela los quedó, ahora los cambiaron este nuevo, el próximo día voy a cambiar nuevo esto también. Y lo tenemos que mucho pensamiento, muchos sentimientos. Hace tiempo estoy trabajando ahora, hace 16 años haciendo de las clases con los chiquitos y practicando mis hijos, practicando otra persona, otros niños. Yo hace clase de 3 veces por semana y hace un único el lunes, a un jueves y a un sábado. De tiempo a veces la tarde, a veces la noche, a veces el día, hace 2 cambios diferentes que hace la clase. La clase de los medicinales, la clase del canto tradicional, el canto de antiguo, de pasado, de los abuelos, abuelas que cantaban lo mismo. Estoy compartiendo, acompañando a nuestra familia. Tengo maestros aquí, maestros y maestras. Está acompañando conmigo también. Cuando yo salgo, Ujarás y hacer de clase de Ujarás. Ujarás es único de Cabécar, lo mismo. De raza de Cabécar está olvidado. Su cultura personal, ella está olvidado, solamente ella está llevado solo español y su palabra muy poca, pero no tanto. Pero unas personas que necesito que los crecemos de nuevo su cultura personal. Él hace mucho triste, él conoció muchos años, los mayores, hablado mucho con él. Él volvió a hablar conmigo que dice, usted no puede acompañar de nuestra comunidad de Ujarás para buscar los chiquillos. Y otro día empezó hablando, entonces llegaron los chiquitos, 33 chiquitos, él participó de 5 veces que los hizo una reunión del parte de ellos, del parte de su padre, su madre, y lo creyó bastante, ellos sintió bien. Ellos que me preguntaron, ¿quién puedo ayudar? ¿Quién puedo hacer una cosa de proyectos para de nosotros? Y yo le dije, mejor que lo esperemos y adelante vamos a buscar algunos proyectos. Entonces los contrarios que Luis Porras, de mis amigos, que me dice, mejor a buscar este proyecto, el LIF, tal vez puedo hacer algunas ayudas. Y vamos a seguir el trabajo, es el trabajo, sigue adelante, vamos a caminar solo camino directo, es mejor, es felicidades, es de crecer del pueblo, es para no perder su tesoro, no perder su corazón, su sangre. Nosotros no queremos cortar nuestras raíces, nuestros árboles. Pero muchísimas gracias, los queremos muchos, el LIF, estamos organizando y compartiendo. Los chiquillos todos que ya les gusta mucho, bailando, cantando y haciendo. De todo es muy bonito, mi felicidad mucho, me siento que es como estoy creciendo, estoy floreando, estoy cosechando y todavía me siento que muy orgullosamente. Por gracias a algunos proyectos que quería acompañar, está bien, está nuestro proyecto y Alto Chirripó y Ujarás son de 2 lados. Yo creo que no es para una vez va a ir chingar. Cañar cabra, cañar canto, cañar cabra, cañar canto. Hey,
Rápido, date baño. Ahora sí. Eso.
We witnessed this morning everyone coming together and learning these songs and sharing and laughing and basically trying to create and hold on to culture, which in our world today is very difficult, especially you know, in a place that's as developed as Costa Rica. Holding on to a sense of belonging and where you belong and where you come from and these beautiful mountains that they have spent their lifetime connecting with. It's been a really unique opportunity for me to come and attempt to connect to something so mystical and magical.
Apart from the Leaf International component of visiting Luis's school and seeing his teaching, is just the human cultural component to be in this place. It's there's not many places in the world like this left. Largely they live out here pretty isolated, and so they are accustomed to feeding themselves from the land and providing for themselves and being very efficient and frugal in the things they use. My impression is that they do it well, and that they look pretty healthy. And you know, there are of course some health issues, and times they could use access to a doctor. But I wouldn't call this a destitute area. Luis likes to say he loves his place and the peace here. It's a beautiful place, and he has seen enough of the outside world that he appreciates it, and he's trying to get his students to appreciate it as well and to value this treasure that they have here. In fact, that's what I tried to communicate to them when I said that, you know, we've come here from the Leaf organization to make that distinction, because there's been missionaries and other groups there, and I said that we come with Leaf, we have a mission, but we're not missionaries with a religious agenda or to bring them something new or some kind of change, but it's we come to help them maintain what they already have, the treasure they already have in themselves and their culture. When I did my healing session with Luis last night, I told him there's not an infirmity or a sickness that I have. I'm doing it mostly just to experience it from a cultural perspective. And so to have him sing and see what it's like, how he practices his medicine. But the more I think about it, I feel like I have been, in this time that I'm here, cured of something. Many of us in the West, and those of us, I think in the Asheville area, suffer from the affliction we call FOMO, fear of missing out. Because in our world of Facebook invites and a city full of music and activity and cool restaurants and microbreweries to visit, there's also this overwhelming feeling of what more can I do? Where else can I be? What can be entertaining me? And it's distracting and pulls our attention away, because there's always something more happening. And here, there is no FOMO. There is no what else is happening. You're here and you're present. And I'm so grateful I've had this opportunity to be here and to not feel like I'm missing out on something else elsewhere, but to have this little break, like a retreat. And so in a sense, I have been cured of that obligation to always be occupied and always be active. So I'm very grateful to be here as just a person myself, to be here among this culture, but especially as a Leaf ambassador, as a representative of Leaf, to see this program that's being started, that what Leaf is supporting, and to communicate it to other people in the Leaf community, what's happening here. So I hope other groups might have an opportunity to get here, are willing to do the trek to get here, because it's a really special place, a beautiful place to be and to be a part of, and to appreciate how unique it is in our world today.